What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate your support in getting us this far. Now, today we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by Cheryl Rich. Thank you for coming through, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me, Soren Baker, legend in the house with a legend. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could do this. Cheryl has been involved in many big things over the years. And one thing that she's got going on now is, and I've known this for a long time because she and I have talked about this over the years, but she has two unreleased, previously unpublished poems from Tupac. So we're going to get into all of that and what she's going to be doing with those and the plans for those. But to give people a little bit of context, Cheryl, I wanted you to explain how you got into the music industry to the point where you were able to meet and get to know and work with Tupac on a couple of his videos.
Indeed. Thank you. Well, again, my name is Cheryl Rich. My IG handle is at Cheryl Helps. That's CHERYLHELPS. And that should say a lot within itself. I came from Cleveland, Ohio. After going through drugs, jails, and hell, I landed in LA with 5 boxes, a computer, and a dream. And the very first thing I did was I wrote a letter and I went to the Friday premiere, not knowing how I was going to get in. I just wanted to get a letter to Ice Cube so I could ask Ice Cube to give me a job, right? So I'm from Cleveland. I hit Hollywood Boulevard. It's at the Man's Chinese Theater. And there's so many people. I'm paranoid. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Oh, and something said park. And I park and I got out and I'm on my way across the street. And in the crosswalk, this guy named Scott. And Scott is still, we are friends on Facebook. He turned and looked at me to the left and said, hey, I got an extra ticket for the Friday premiere. You want to go? And that's how I got into the Friday premiere. Well, the after party was another story. So, of course, I didn't see Cube inside the theater, but I found out where the after party was. And it was a security guard that when I got there, and I can't even remember his name. It started with a K. And I went up.
Was it Kibo?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even remember, but it'll come to me, especially at this stage of my life. But I snuck under his arm and he was like, hey, and he grabbed me and it was some stairs right there. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I got a letter. And I showed the letter. I said, I got to get this to Ice Cube. And he looked at me and he said, go ahead. And he let me under it. He moved his arm and I went to go down the steps and Cube was on his way up the steps. I say all this to say the universe and how the universe works. And so I said, Ice Cube, would you please take the letter? And Cube took the letter. You guys, he took the letter. And so I went on home. The next day, I get a call from Brother Ron. Now, if I even know that name, you know it's real. And Brother Ron called me and they called Tracy Robinson, and told Tracy to put me on. So my first video was Buddha Lover with Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Wow.
And that's how I got in the game. And so, I worked on several videos, Mac 10, D.O.C, who I just simply like no other. And so finally, on How Do You Want It in Gangster Party is when I ran, we were on La Cienega, the Gangster Party story is I'm a gopher, I'm a PA. So I'm getting ready to run and get something for the director. And I come out in pockets, triple part, not double, y'all, triple. Everybody going crazy on a La Cienega. He got the top down, he got his shirt off, and I got to get out. And I screamed, Pop! I was like, will you please? And he was like, okay. And he got in the street, stopped traffic. So I was, I got to go to the store and I got to get back. And that's how, it all began. And then I met Layla Steinberg. We didn't meet on the set, but she was there. Years go by. I got an artist. I connect to Layla Steinberg, who was Tupac's first mentor manager, and 20 plus years deep with Layla. So these poems came into my life, and I have been sitting on these poems for more than 15 years now, Soren.
So how did you get these poems? Like, what was the process of that?
Well, all I'm gonna say is that I worked with Tupac on both of those videos. We had an opportunity to talk. We had an opportunity to share. And most of all, I got to share some of the hard stories in my life. And he gave me respect. So the intricate part of that, I'll just say these words, they belong to me, these poems. And my responsibility now, after all these years, is to figure out how the community is going to eat off of these poems. I've gotten a $150,000 offer. That's the highest it has gotten. And I did not make a move. I never wanted to do anything with these without first figuring out, what would Pac want? What would Pac do? So we all know the estate owns that IP. You know, we understand that. But under these circumstances, Soren Baker, and everyone who gets to listen to this in a Black Lives Matter climate, that means all people. We tired of the 1%ers eating and everybody else starving. You know, I'm also involved with working with the father side of George Floyd's family right now. It is crucial now that we share. It is crucial that we find a way. And so that's why I am here. Something popped off called crypto and NFT world about last year when I got approached about the poems and someone was trying to trick me out of them. And so I went and I started doing my homework. And I am here now because I'm coming. I'm coming with a movement around these NFTs. And I want the estate to know I come in peace. I want the Tupac Amaru Foundation to eat. I want to donate to that foundation. And if I could be, as an elder in the community, I say, if there's a way to get the Tupac Amaru Foundation and the estate to come together, if all of us out there, because social media now is the judge, the prosecutor, and the jury, if we all come together and say, what will it take for peace in the name of our prophet, Tupac Shakur? That's what I feel, and that's what I want.
Well, one of the poems, and you had shared some of it with me, was the Uplift the Race, verse 2. Since people haven't seen it or what have you, what can you tell us about that poem in particular and how that ties into who Tupac was and is?
Well, I feel Uplift the Race is exactly what it says. That's what he was about. I was working with someone one time, Silver Padella, who's a technologist genius, and a guy named Guy, and he said Tupac was the first blockchain. Is that a thought, y'all? Family, is that something to think about? Tupac was the first blockchain. What is the blockchain? Transparency. It is a place where we want it to be fair to everyone. That's what Tupac was about. That's what Uplift the Race, that poem, is about. How do we start to make sure all people stop struggling, this homeless rate? And you know, that's what I say Pac stood for. And that's what we all got to start to figure out. How do we work together? You know, and so Uplift the Race is one of them. And that will be the first one that I'm going to allow to get out there. And believe me, I want to give the NFTs away for free. That's my plan. We'll figure out how to make money some way, but I want people who know nothing about NFT, non-fungible tokens, who know nothing about the blockchain, because the first thing I was told inside a Clubhouse when NFT really started getting popular, one of the whales said, who is someone with a lot of money, said, well, first and foremost, Tupac's community doesn't buy NFTs. They don't know how to mint NFTs. They don't know about that world. But we put a name like Tupac with that, and it will open it up more. And I see the state is doing something around the crypto NFT movement right now. So, and I'm glad about that.
So that being said, before we get to the other poem, what makes crypto blockchain that the way that you want to get this out to the masses? Why not do it a different way?
Well, I'm open. I'm open to the community. That's why I've got someone right now who's got access to 10 million on Black Twitter. And he's waiting for me to, he wants to interview me. He wants to throw it out there. I would love the community to come to me and say, you know, what should we do that a mass number of people will have the opportunity to come in and actually benefit from this? How do we create generational wealth with the blockchain? Because that's what it's about. The blockchain has a smart contract, and the smart contract is transparent. For the first time, could you imagine something dealing with Tupac Shakur's IP being transparent? And for the people, oh my God, it gives me chills. Molly, I said it give me chills. Tom, it give me chills, y'all. That's real talk.
Okay. And then the other poem is the Saw Your Girl.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that one?
That's a little savvy. He was mad about some girl that he didn't like the way she was moving. I'll put it to you like that. That's a little risque right there. But I've had a lot of people in my ear about what to do to make this a mass movement. And the plan is to make it a movement. Like drill music, you know, that we know what that's doing. My plan is to come with something called my medicine music. You know, so I've had a few people, lots of people in my ear saying, let's do this, let's do that. First of all, I'm grateful for this interview. Before I go to a couple of other outlets, I'll come in peace. I come in love. You know, anybody check my record at Cheryl Helps. I'm in the streets running I'm an executive producer, from ex-convict to a master's in clinical psychology to an executive producer in Hollywood. I run the streets at nighttime. I don't look for an RV. I don't look for a car or a tent. I look for that king or queen that's laying on the street, and I give out pillows. I call myself the pillow fairy. And when one of our homeless brothers or sisters allow me to feed them, I bow down. I'm 63 years old. I'm skating downhill. My duty as an elder in this world today is to figure out how to spread love, come together, work together for the greater good of this world right now.
And that's definitely something that seemed to be in line with a lot of what Tupac stood for. So for you, talking to him, meeting him, knowing him, interacting with him, what did you learn back then that you're able to apply to what you're doing now from him, or something that inspired you or gives you some thoughts?
You know, I remember I was young, you know, my consciousness was far from what it is now. But I remember him throwing a fit about, I think he wanted Cristal. They had ran out, Tracy, we had ran out of his particular, whatever, well, Moet or Cristal, one of the two he wanted. And this was on How Do You Want It, that video. And I remember him throwing a temper tantrum. And I remember a couple of times I had an opportunity to just turn around and was like, pop! You know, like I didn't even have the wherewithal to understand that he was this giant. He was a youngster. I'm telling you, when he first got out, him, Suge and Snoop came to the hangar over in Santa Monica. And I had an opportunity then. You know, I remember thinking, God, people around him just don't, you know, it's unbelievable. And now that I'm on a TV show and it's happening for me, it's amazing how people blow up and there's no real voice there to calm them down. So I didn't, you know, as far as what I learned from him, I just learned that the system got him caught up. You know, that's really what happened, is that this illusion, they call it television, just really got that young man really caught up, because he had a heart of gold. I didn't encounter him. It's not like I was over his house or, I didn't have a lot of time with him, but I had enough time to even look back now with this consciousness and say, he had a heart. He wanted to make it better. His one of his best friends, Ray Love, who loved, I remember being in a mic sessions with Layla one time, and Ray Love said, America's first heroes were America's first crooks. And that was the strongest statement I'd ever heard. I'm like, our world was never supposed to be like this, that we stress out every day of our life. Pac wanted a better world. And we do too, don't we, Soren?
Absolutely. So that being said, with Ray Love, shout out to him, of course, for a lot of the great things he's done over the years. But then on top of that, Tupac didn't have that long when he was alive as far as what his output artistically on the record side and on the acting side and even on the political side. So what do you think has enabled him, his words, his message to endure even today to 2022 and beyond?
I know that the reason Tupac has continued to live is because he was willing to just be as open as possible. He never got a chance because he was so young, but he was a role model of authenticity. And what each and every one of us want. The director of our show, Kurt T. Jones, said to me when he first met me, he said, Cheryl, let me tell you something. I know people got a problem with you, don't they? I looked at her. They have a problem with you, don't they? Be having a problem. I looked. He said, they even love you or hate you, don't they? I looked. He said, you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. And I was like, why? I always, and he looked at me and he said, because you've done what everybody in this world want to do. And by this time I set up like, excuse me. Are you like, and I'm looking at him and I mean, he's animated. He was like, oh yeah, you done what everybody. And by this time I'm like, okay, tell me. And he says, you found a way to be who you are. He said, but the problem with you is you perfected that. And I'll never forget it. Tupac had perfected it. That's what Pac was, authentically who he was. People say, oh, yeah, talk too much. No, that boy was willing to open his heart. And that's what I'm here for. I can't hide. My criminal record, just type my name in, Cheryl Rich, and it all pops up. It gives you a sense of freedom. 63, I'm skating downhill. I don't even want to leave my body no sooner, but if I must die so that we can have a better world, I'm willing to do that too. And that was Tupac Shakur. This is a new climate, y'all. The revolution is being televised. All the puppets, tears, they got to back up, baby. Ain't no stopping this. It's a movement. We all know it.
Yeah, it's a lot of interesting, exciting, and powerful things that are happening right now. And you have the house show that you have, as well as some of the other projects that you have that you're developing. So you had mentioned George Floyd. How and why did you get involved with his family and his legacy?
I'm glad you said that because I would wonder that myself if I was you. I was on a Zoom call just like this. And it was a few people, maybe about 5 people on the call. And the one person could not believe. He said, I just can't believe your transparency. That you're willing to be is just as open and real. And I was like, thanks a lot. If I could turn back my past, I was pregnant at 12, raped by a priest at 11. Like for real, I stretched my only son in a casket. Okay, if I could turn back time, I wouldn't go through this. And so I said that. I said, thanks, but if I could, he said, no, don't thank me. He said, no, I'm thinking, would you be open to talk to George Floyd's father's side of the family? And I lost it. I burst into tears, screaming and crying. I got chills right now. By the time I pulled myself back up on the Zoom, makeup was all smeared. I was scared. They was like, calm down, it's okay. I said, it's the highest honor I could even think of. And so little did I know, his cousin Thomas was the first that I talked to. And Thomas ran around the room and he cried like I cried. As I told them, a dope fiend like me, God used to change the world. They didn't ask for this. The Floyds say, we didn't ask for this. We just regular people. And then I got on the phone with Uncle Roger, who is the wisdom guru. And we began conversation. And you could imagine how many people have been circling. And they proved to me how many have been at their fingertips with money and ideas. And then by the grace of God, used me with the George Floyd Memorial Center. This is the father's side of the family, the George Floyd Memorial Center. And the vision is a brick and mortar. But by the grace, I have a technologist genius. And after all they had heard, with no expectations, I came how to be of service. They said to me, well, we know, you're on a show and you in Hollywood. And I burst into tears crying and said, I'll wash your dishes. I'll scrub your floors. There's no higher honor. So I brought Silver Padella to the table. And what we presented to them, they said, we like you all first. And we like what you have presented. And we believe God is in your hearts. And let's set the next meeting. So I am here, so honored to be able to say those words right now. So honored that you would allow me the grace to interview me on your platform. Because you, Soren Baker, understood the power of hip hop. I always say rap, rape hip hop. Hip hop was meant to empower, just like James Brown says, say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. And born in the USA. That's what hip hop was supposed to do. And I met Damian Lickenstein one time. He told me that they were pretty much the first ones that started the chains and calling that car that whip. He was running around the world trying to figure out how to make it a better place because of the damage that had been done. And we understand the lines of distribution was owned and controlled. And we understand something called the private prison system. How do I know about that? Because I got paid $1.27 when I was in the penitentiary in Marysville Reformatory for Women, $1.27 to build houses. And so we understand that music is the most powerful element on this earth. And that's why hip hop was changed to gangster rap. I see my babies in the street and I say, that car could be called a tree. It could have been called a lamppost, but why is that car that whipping you wearing them chains? What's really going on? So it's a new day and you've been in the front line with this music that touched you in your vanilla skin color at such a young age. You know the power of it. And I thank you for having me here because I'm coming with smoke. And I'm coming to say, we must unite. We must find a way to work together. And these poems that I'm sitting on, that God allowed me to sit on, that I done turned down money and didn't take, this time I want the community speak on it. What do we do to make sure all those that Tupac Shakur would want to eat? And I come in peace with the estate and the Tupac Amaru Foundation. Whatever I do with these, the Tupac Amaru Foundation, Tupac's sister, she gonna eat. She's gonna fund her programs. We're gonna do some work in communities of color. And I hand the olive branch out to Tupac estate, to Molly and Tom.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see how this develops because I know you've been holding on to him for a long time now. So in addition to all this other stuff, since you have other things going on in Hollywood, how do you decide what you're going to be doing? Like, because you have a myriad of interests, how do you decide what to move on and navigate that process?
Well, the universe really works. I mean, I was laying in a penitentiary cell and I'm here with you. How could I have figured that out? I'm very well aware that there's something operating much higher than what we know. Right now, there's a project in the pipeline. It's a dance project. The house, I pushed that project itself. It is an LGBTQ talk show dinner party where straights and gays come together to discuss tolerance. Everybody, that word is so rough on the tongue. Tolerance. I don't want nobody tolerating me. They don't like me, leave me alone. But no, if we can discuss, come together. And I tell everybody I used to be gay and I used to be straight. Now I just get in the bed and go to sleep by 8. Auntie Cheryl don't need to suck a lick, nothing else. I'm at that stage now. But the house is all gay Black men. And I love RuPaul, but I brought him, ain't no dresses on. It's just it's the View on steroids. It's a conversation for role modeling. How Sean is the chef, he's straight. How do we come together? Because once a man or a woman looks at one of our trans sisters or trans brothers and get a feeling of chills and things get to twiddling in between the legs, you know, it's very easy to find out, oh, and then want to kill them just because of what a person felt, because of the shame that is around this. So the house is a very, very important project right now. And Doug DeLuca of the Jimmy Kimmel Show, co-producer Jimmy Kimmel, you understand that man's lineage? Felt enough for this show, The House, to put his name on it. Kurt T. Jones, who was editing for Howie Mandel, put this show, a gay Black male, put it on his back. So I don't have to claim no titles no more. I'm love. And that's why that show is so important. And then, like I said, there's a dance show that is going to be, it's moving with the speed of light. And then there's a couple of other things I have happening. So I am here in this world today to make a difference. And anyone that has any kind of information they want to say, hey, burn the poems up, light them on fire in front of the world, if that makes sense. But I say, let's come together and figure out, this is a very, very powerful moment in our life right now with crypto, NFTs, with artists who have been cheated for years and years. They have a space now, they're making money. People can learn about this. The technology has leveled the playing field, you know. So with all the projects I have right now, honored with each and every one of them, this one matters to me most. And I'd like to say that my book is coming. It's taken me 30 years. Writing is not my happy place. I finally found an editor after many people. Her name is Rayanne. And I decided to call my book Naked Insanity. And not only do I call my book Naked Insanity, I am Naked Insanity. And the reason I say that is because when you strip insanity of all of its clothing, it's sane. So I say I'm Naked Insanity, where you come to get your mind medicine so that you can go pick up your prescription on how to become authentically you. We're going to do a movement of healing around these poems. The George Floyd Memorial Center is about healing. People are tired. It ain't even about black, white, red, none of that. People are tired of hurting. The pandemic shut everybody down. And I always say, broke is a situation, poor is a state of mind. But for the first time, extreme wealth and extreme poverty has something in common. We were all shut down. That was an act of God. So we are all here now in a new climate, in a new world. And it's a lot of people that say, no, let's do the right thing. Let's figure that out. Let's figure it out together. Let's do the right thing. And let's make this world a better place. And that's what Cheryl Rich stands for. Auntie Cheryl.
Well, there it is, Cheryl Rich. Well, anything else you want to add before we bounce?
No, I guess I'll just say my website, CherylRich.com, CherylRich. My Facebook, The Real Cheryl Rich and Cheryl Rich. I got 2 Facebook pages. I don't know how to blend them. And then at Cheryl Helps, anyone in the community, that's all colors, that want to contact me and say, I got an idea. Let's come together. And most of all, I send a message to the estate to say, I come in peace and love. Let's work together and figure out how we can start a movement in the name of prophet. I say he was a prophet, y'all. Tupac Amaru Shakur and his mother. God bless you, son.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.